The evening sun cast long shadows across the cramped apartment as a tired father of two counted loose change on his weathered kitchen table. At 45, Raj had never imagined life would be this hard. The stack of unpaid bills beside him seemed to grow taller with each passing day, and the weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. His children's voices drifted from the small bedroom they shared, their laughter a bitter reminder of all he couldn't provide. The refrigerator hummed quietly, nearly empty except for some milk and leftover rice. Tomorrow was another payday, but like always, it wouldn't be enough. Raj worked 2 jobs, as a maintenance worker during the day and a gas station attendant at night. The schedule was grueling, but he had no choice after his wife's passing 3 years ago. Every penny went toward keeping a roof over their heads and food on the table, with barely anything left for savings or emergencies. That morning had been particularly rough. His old car had broken down again, forcing him to walk 2 miles to work in the early morning chill. His boss had been understanding, but Raj could sense the patience wearing thin. As he swept the building's corridors, his mind constantly wandered to the mounting repair costs. During his lunch break, while cleaning out his winter coat pockets before taking it to the donation center, his fingers brushed against something papery. He pulled out an old lottery ticket, purchased months ago during a moment of desperate hope. He'd completely forgotten about it, assuming it was worthless like all the others. The ticket was crumpled and worn, dated from 6 months ago. Raj almost threw it away, but something made him pause. That evening, after his shift ended, he stopped at the convenience store where he'd bought it. His hands trembled slightly as he handed it to the clerk, expecting nothing but the usual disappointment. The clerk's expression changed as she scanned the ticket. She scanned it again, then called her manager over. Raj's heart began to race as they huddled over the machine, speaking in hushed tones. The manager turned to him, his face serious. "Sir, you might want to sit down for this." Those words would mark the beginning of a transformation that none of them could have predicted. But as Raj stood there, exhausted from another long day, he had no idea that his life was about to change forever. The crumpled ticket in his hand wasn't just paper anymore, it was a key that would unlock a future he'd stopped believing in long ago. The next few moments would test not just his composure, but his entire worldview. As the manager prepared to reveal the amount, Raj's mind raced through all the possibilities. Would it be enough to fix his car? Pay off some bills? Or maybe, just maybe, something more. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, and time seemed to stand still in that small convenience store, as Raj waited to hear what destiny had in store for him. The convenience store's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows as the manager gestured for Raj to follow him to the back office. Each step felt surreal, like walking through a dream. The small room smelled of coffee and paper, with lottery posters covering the walls, a fitting backdrop for what was about to unfold. "Sir," the manager began, his voice steady but eyes wide with excitement, "this ticket, it's worth $3 million. The words hit Raj like a physical force. His legs weakened, and he gripped the edge of the desk to steady himself. $3 million. The amount seemed impossible to comprehend. It was more money than he'd ever imagined holding in his lifetime. Are you sure?" Raj's voice came out as barely more than a whisper. The manager nodded, showing him the computer screen displaying the winning numbers. Each digit matched perfectly with his ticket. 6 numbers that had changed everything. "You'll need to contact the State Lottery Commission first thing tomorrow morning," the manager explained, writing down the number on a piece of paper. "Keep this ticket safe. Don't tell anyone about it yet. And whatever you do, don't lose it." The walk home that night was the longest of Raj's life. The ticket, now carefully folded and tucked into his inner pocket, seemed to burn against his chest. Every passing car made him jump, every shadow on the street appeared threatening. He clutched his jacket closer, protecting his precious cargo. His children were already asleep when he got home, their peaceful faces illuminated by the streetlight filtering through their window. 12-year-old Priya and 8-year-old Dev had no idea their lives were about to change. He watched them for a moment, tears welling in his eyes as he thought of all the opportunities they would now have. Sleep was impossible that night. Raj sat at his kitchen table until dawn, the ticket placed carefully before him, planning and dreaming. His wife Mira's photo smiled down at him from the wall, and he could almost hear her voice, "See? Good things happen to good people." The Lottery Commission office opened at 9 a.m. Raj called both his jobs, saying he had a family emergency. His hands shook as he dialed the number the manager had given him. The next few hours were a blur of verification processes, paperwork, and meetings with lottery officials. The reality of his win began to sink in during a meeting with a financial advisor provided by the Lottery Commission. After taxes, he would receive approximately $1.8 million. The advisor strongly recommended taking the lump sum option, given the current economic climate. "Mr. Kumar," the advisor said, adjusting her glasses, "this is life-changing money, but it's not endless. We need to talk about investment strategies, budgeting, and protecting your privacy. Many lottery winners make the mistake of thinking they can never run out." Raj nodded, thinking of all the stories he'd read about lottery winners who lost everything. He wouldn't let that happen. This money wasn't just for him, it was for his children's future, for the life his wife had dreamed of giving them. As he left the Lottery Commission office that afternoon, carrying a folder full of documents and preliminary paperwork, the world looked different. The same streets he'd walked thousands of times before seemed brighter, full of possibility. But with that possibility came a new kind of pressure, the pressure to make the right decisions, to be wise with this unexpected blessing. His phone buzzed with messages from his employers, asking about his absence. Soon, everyone would know. The quiet life he'd known was about to change forever, for better or worse. Standing on the sidewalk, Raj took a deep breath and pulled out his phone. The first call would be to his sister, who had helped raise his children after Mira's passing. She would know what to do, how to handle this without letting it overwhelm their lives. As he dialed her number, a newspaper headline caught his eye: "Previous lottery winner bankrupt after 2 years." The sight served as a sobering reminder: this gift could be either a blessing or a curse. Everything would depend on what he did next. The conversation with his sister Preeti lasted over an hour. Her initial disbelief turned to cautious joy, then practical concern. "Don't tell the children yet," she advised. "We need to prepare them for this change. Money can do strange things to people, even family." That evening, Raj went through his usual routine, making dinner for the kids and helping with homework. But everything felt different. As Dev struggled with his math problems, Raj imagined sending him to that private school they'd passed so many times. When Priya mentioned her dream of learning piano, his heart swelled knowing he could now make it happen. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of meetings. The financial advisor, Mrs. Chen, helped him create a solid plan. First priority, paying off all debts. Second, setting up education funds for both children. Third, investing in a modest but comfortable house in a good school district. The remaining money would be carefully invested to ensure long-term security. Remember, Mrs. Chen emphasized, the goal isn't to live extravagantly, but to create stability. Many winners make the mistake of thinking they're suddenly rich enough for everything. They're not. The media caught wind of his win within a week. Reporters started appearing outside his apartment building, their cameras flashing like lightning. Raj kept the curtains drawn and instructed his children to avoid talking to strangers. The attention was overwhelming, but Preeti's presence helped shield them from the chaos. The hardest part was keeping the secret from his children. They noticed something was different: their father seemed distracted, spent long hours on the phone, and had mysterious meetings to attend. Priya, always perceptive, caught him staring at her one evening with tears in his eyes. "Dad, is everything okay?" she asked, her voice tinged with worry. "Are you sick like Mom was?" The question broke his heart. "No, Beta," he assured her, pulling her close. "Everything is going to be better than okay. I promise." The Lottery Commission arranged for a press conference, something about public interest and transparency. Raj agreed, but with conditions: no photographs of his children, no disclosure of their school or living arrangements. The day before the conference, he sat them down for the conversation that would change their lives forever. "Remember how we always talk about working hard and being grateful?" he began, watching their young faces carefully. "Sometimes life gives us unexpected gifts, but these gifts come with responsibility." He explained about the lottery ticket, the money, and what it meant for their future. Dev's eyes grew wide with excitement, immediately talking about video games and toys. But Priya's reaction surprised him. She grew quiet, then asked, "Will we have to leave our friends? Will people treat us differently?" Her maturity struck him. At 12, she already understood something profound about how money could complicate relationships. Raj pulled both children into a tight hug, remembering Mira's words about raising them to be kind and grounded. "We'll still be us," he promised. "We'll just have more opportunities to help others and build the life Mom wanted for you. But we have to be smart and careful." That night, after the children were asleep, Raj sat in their small living room, surrounded by the life they'd built together. The worn furniture, the wall of family photos, the crayon drawings on the refrigerator, all of it told the story of their struggles and love. Tomorrow, everything would change. The press conference would make their private miracle public knowledge. As he prepared for bed, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number: "Congratulations on your win. We should talk about an investment opportunity." He deleted it immediately, remembering Mrs. Chen's warnings about people who would try to take advantage. Already, the weight of wealth was making itself felt, bringing new worries to replace the old ones. The press conference changed everything. Despite the Lottery Commission's security measures, Raj felt exposed under the harsh camera lights. He kept his statement brief, sharing only that he was a single father who planned to focus on his children's education. But the media wanted more. They painted him as the fortune-favored father, spinning tales of rags to riches that made him uncomfortable. Within days, their quiet life imploded. Old classmates, distant relatives, and complete strangers emerged from nowhere, each with their own sob story or business proposition. The apartment building's lobby filled with letters and packages from people seeking help. Their phone rang constantly until they had to change the number. At school, Priya and Dev faced their own challenges. Some friends became awkward and distant, while others suddenly wanted to be best friends. Dev's teacher called, concerned about his distraction in class. He'd been bragging about buying the entire toy store. Meanwhile, Priya stopped eating lunch in the cafeteria, hiding in the library to avoid the whispers and stares. One evening, Raj found Priya crying in her room. "I wish we could give the money back," she sobbed. "Everything's different now. Anjali said I'm not the same person anymore, but I am. I haven't changed." The incident prompted Raj to accelerate their moving plans. With Mrs. Chen's help, he found a secure apartment complex in a nearby suburb, close enough to maintain some normalcy but far enough to escape the constant attention. The building had security, and more importantly, other families who valued their privacy. The move was quiet and quick, happening early one Sunday morning. As they packed, Raj discovered Mira's old diary tucked behind some books. Reading it that night in their new home, he found an entry from just before she passed: "My greatest wish is for our children to have opportunities one never had, but to remain the kind, humble souls they are." Adjusting to their new life proved challenging. Raj struggled with simple decisions. Was it okay to buy new clothes at regular stores, or would that be wasteful? Should he help his cousin whose business was failing? What about the local temple that needed repairs? Every purchase, every decision felt weighted with moral implications. Mrs. Chen became an unexpected source of wisdom. Think of yourself as a steward, not an owner, she advised. This money is a tool to secure your family's future and help others wisely, not to solve everyone's problems. Following her advice, Raj established a structured giving program through a charitable foundation. This allowed him to help others while maintaining boundaries and ensuring the money was used effectively. He started with the gas station where he used to work, creating a scholarship fund for employees' children. The children slowly adapted to their new circumstances. Dev's excitement about wealth gradually tempered, especially after Raj involved him in volunteering at a local food bank. Priya discovered that her new school's music program gave her a fresh start, where she could be known for her talent rather than her father's lottery win. But not all changes were positive. Some family relationships became strained. Raj's older brother stopped speaking to him after he declined to invest in a risky business. The money had solved many problems but created new ones. Yet watching his children sleep peacefully in their new rooms, hearing Priya practice piano in the afternoons, and seeing Dev's excitement about his upcoming school science fair, he knew they were on the right path. 1 year after finding the lottery ticket, Raj sat in his home office, reviewing the family's journey. The wall calendar marked important dates: Priya's first piano recital, Dev's science fair victory, the launch of their charitable foundation. But it also marked the days they'd lost old friends and the painful family gatherings they'd missed. The foundation had become Raj's passion project. Working with educational experts, they'd established programs for underprivileged students, focusing on practical skills and artistic development. The scholarship at his old gas station had already helped 3 students start college. These achievements brought him more joy than any luxury purchase could. One morning, while dropping Dev at school, Raj noticed a familiar face, his old boss from the maintenance job. The man was struggling with heavy cleaning equipment, looking as tired as Raj used to feel. Without hesitation, Raj parked and helped him unload. They talked for an hour, and Raj learned about the man's own struggles with his wife's medical bills. That evening, Raj added a new initiative to the foundation, a healthcare assistance program for maintenance workers. He remembered his own fears about medical expenses after Mira's passing. The program would help, but sustainably, requiring participants to contribute what they could afford. Priya, now 13, showed remarkable maturity in handling their new status. She'd started a student club focusing on financial literacy and charitable giving. "Money is like water, Dad," she said one evening, surprising him with her wisdom. "It's best when it flows and helps things grow, not when it sits still." Dev's transformation was equally remarkable. His initial excitement about wealth had evolved into genuine interest in how things worked. He spent hours with Mrs. Chen, learning basic concepts about saving and investing. His piggy bank became a lesson in compound interest, with Raj matching his savings for future donations to causes Dev chose. But challenges remained. A local newspaper ran a story about the Lucky Kumar family, revealing details about their new life. The article brought another wave of requests and opportunities, some genuine, others predatory. Raj learned to distinguish between them, though the decisions never became easier. The most difficult moment came when Raj's closest cousin's daughter needed emergency surgery. The procedure wasn't covered by insurance, and the cost was substantial. The foundation had strict policies about individual medical cases, created specifically to avoid emotional decisions. Raj spent sleepless nights weighing his personal feelings against the foundation's principles. In the end, he found a middle ground, helping his cousin navigate hospital financial assistance programs and using foundation resources to create a broader emergency medical fund for the community. The experience taught him that true help often meant more than just writing checks. Mrs. Chen noted how the family's investment portfolio had grown steadily, despite their charitable giving. "You've broken the pattern," she said during their quarterly review. Most winners either spend recklessly or become paranoid misers. You found balance. That balance came from unexpected sources. The children's school counselor helped them process their feelings about wealth and loss. A support group for sudden wealth recipients provided perspective and practical advice. Even their new neighbors, many of whom had their own success stories, offered guidance on maintaining normalcy. One quiet Sunday afternoon, as the family worked in their small vegetable garden, a reminder of simpler pleasures, Raj found himself smiling at the sight of dirt under his children's fingernails. Despite their comfortable life, they still found joy in growing their own food, just as they had in their old apartment's window boxes. 2 years after the lottery win, life had settled into a new rhythm. The foundation's success stories filled a thick binder on Raj's desk, each page representing a life changed. But the most significant changes happened within his own family's walls. Priya's piano playing had become remarkable. Her teacher suggested applying to a prestigious music program, leading to difficult conversations about balance and priorities. "Music is my passion," she explained to her father, "but I don't want to lose sight of who we are." She decided to continue with regular school while pursuing music on the side, teaching free piano lessons to underprivileged children through their foundation. Dev discovered entrepreneurship through an unexpected channel. After learning about microfinance in school, he proposed a program where the foundation would provide small business loans to immigrant families. His presentation to the foundation board, complete with spreadsheets and impact projections, moved Raj to tears. He saw Mira's business sense shining through their son. The family's wealth management took an interesting turn when Raj hired his former gas station colleague as the foundation's community outreach coordinator. The man's street-smart approach to identifying genuine needs complemented Raj's cautious nature perfectly. Together, they developed a screening process that became a model for other charitable organizations. One morning, while reviewing applications for the foundation's education program, Raj found a familiar name, his estranged brother's son. The application was strong, meeting all criteria, but it reopened old wounds. The brother who had stopped speaking to him was now indirectly seeking help through his son. After days of contemplation and family discussions, they approved the application. Sometimes the bridge back to family is built with silent stones, Preeti advised. The decision proved transformative. His nephew's success in the program gradually thawed the ice between the brothers. The media's interest in their story evolved too. Instead of focusing on the lottery win, reporters now covered their foundation's impact. A national newspaper featured their innovative approach to community development, highlighting how they combined financial assistance with mentorship and skill development. But success brought scrutiny. Critics questioned their methods, suggesting they weren't giving enough or were too selective with their help. The pressure to defend their choices weighed heavily on Raj until Mrs. Chen shared a surprising statistic: their foundation had one of the highest success rates in sustainable community development. The children faced their own challenges. Dev struggled with a friend who constantly asked for expensive gifts, testing his understanding of true friendship. Priya navigated her first relationship, complicated by questions about genuine intentions. These experiences, though painful, taught them valuable lessons about trust and authenticity. Their home remained their sanctuary. Family dinner discussions evolved from simple catching up to deep conversations about social responsibility and personal growth. They maintained traditions from their previous life: Sunday cooking sessions, monthly movie nights, and their small but flourishing vegetable garden. One evening, while helping Dev with a school project about family history, Raj found himself sharing stories about his early struggles. The boy listened intently, especially to tales about his mother. "We were actually richest when we had almost nothing," Raj explained, "because we had love and hope." Dev's thoughtful nod showed he understood. Their lottery win hadn't given them happiness, it had given them tools to share the happiness they already had. 3 years after the lottery win, their foundation had become a model of sustainable community development. The small gas station scholarship program had expanded into a citywide initiative, supporting over 100 students. But it was the changes within their home that truly measured their growth. Priya, now 15, had organized a music festival featuring young artists from their foundation's programs. The event brought together children from different socio-economic backgrounds, united by their love of music. As she stood on stage, introducing performers whose lives had been touched by their foundation, Raj saw Mira's compassionate spirit living on through their daughter. Dev's microfinance initiative had grown beyond expectations. His simple idea had helped 30 small businesses start up, creating a ripple effect of employment and community growth. At 11, he'd become the youngest speaker at a regional conference on community development, sharing their family's journey from receiving help to giving it. The relationship with Raj's brother had gradually healed. The nephew's success in their education program opened doors for reconciliation. During Diwali that year, the entire extended family gathered at their home for the first time since the lottery win. The celebration was modest by their new standards, but rich in laughter and restored connections. Their foundation faced its biggest challenge when a natural disaster struck a nearby city. The pressure to respond was immense, but they stayed true to their principles of sustainable help. Instead of quick-fix solutions, they established a long-term rebuilding program, partnering with local organizations to ensure lasting impact. Mrs. Chen, reviewing their financial strategy, noted something remarkable. Their wealth had grown despite their generous giving, thanks to careful management and strategic investments. "You've proven that ethical wealth management isn't just possible, it's profitable," she said during their annual review. The media attention had evolved into something meaningful. Their story inspired other lottery winners and wealthy families to adopt similar approaches to charitable giving. Raj found himself mentoring other sudden wealth recipients, sharing lessons learned from their journey. One evening, while helping in their now expanded community garden, Priya made an observation that stopped Raj in his tracks. "Dad, remember when you used to count coins on the kitchen table? Now you're counting lives changed." The comment brought tears to his eyes. She was right. The same hands that once struggled to pay bills now signed documents that transformed communities. Dev's school project on economic inequality won first prize, not just for its analysis but for its proposed solutions based on their foundation's experiences. His teachers were amazed by his understanding of complex social issues, but Raj knew it came from living both sides of the wealth divide. Their home remained deliberately modest compared to their means. The children still had chores, allowances tied to responsibilities, and clear expectations about money management. "Wealth is a tool," became a family motto, not a solution. The foundation office displayed a framed lottery ticket, not the winning one, but a new one purchased the day after their win. It remained unchecked, a reminder that their fortune wasn't just about money, but about the opportunity to make a difference. Below it hung a quote from Mira's diary: "True wealth is measured by the lives we touch, not the things we own." 5 years after finding that crumpled lottery ticket, Raj stood in the auditorium of their foundation's new community center. The building, once an abandoned warehouse, now buzzed with activity: adult education classes, youth programs, small business incubators, and arts workshops. It was a physical testament to their journey from scarcity to significance. Priya, now 17, had transformed the center's music program into something extraordinary. Students who couldn't afford instruments received them through a lending library she'd designed. Her original composition about their family's journey was being performed tonight by an orchestra of young musicians from their programs. Dev, 13 and already showing signs of becoming a community leader, had expanded his microfinance initiative into a comprehensive youth entrepreneurship program. The small businesses started through their foundation now employed over 200 people, creating a network of self-sustaining community support. As Raj prepared to address the gathering for the center's inauguration, he found the old winter coat hanging in his office, the one that had contained the lottery ticket. He'd kept it as a reminder, though it was worn and faded now. In its pocket, he discovered something he'd forgotten, a small note from Mira, written months before her passing. "My dear husband," it read, "your kindness is your true wealth. Never let hardship steal that from you." The paper trembled in his hands. She couldn't have known about the ticket that would change their lives, but somehow, she'd known what mattered most. The inauguration ceremony began with a video montage of their foundation's journey. Images flashed across the screen, the first scholarship recipients graduating college, immigrant families opening their businesses, young artists performing on stage. But what moved Raj most were the simple moments: Dev teaching financial literacy to other kids, Priya mentoring young musicians, their family working together in the community garden. His brother, once estranged but now the foundation's legal advisor, stood beside him on stage. Their reconciliation had become a symbol of the foundation's philosophy, that true wealth building meant rebuilding relationships too. The nephew who'd received their education grant was now heading to medical school, planning to serve in underserved communities. Mrs. Chen, still their trusted advisor, had helped them structure the foundation to be self-sustaining long into the future. "You've created something rare," she told them during the ceremony. "A legacy that grows by giving." The evening's highlight was a surprise organized by the community. Families who'd been touched by their foundation over the years shared their stories. A single mother who'd started a successful catering business through their microfinance program. A young artist who'd discovered his talent in their after-school programs. An elderly gentleman who'd learned to read in their adult education classes. As Raj listened to these stories, he realized something profound. The lottery win hadn't just changed their lives, it had created a ripple effect of transformation. The money, managed wisely, had become a tool for something far more valuable: hope. That night, after the celebrations, the family gathered in their garden. The same garden where they'd learned their first lessons about growing things patiently, nurturing them carefully, and sharing the harvest generously. Dev tended to the tomato plants while Priya played a soft melody on her portable keyboard. The moment felt complete. "You know," Raj said, holding Mira's note, "we didn't just win money that day. We won a chance to show that wealth can be more than what you have, it's what you do with it." His children nodded, understanding the true value of their fortune wasn't in bank accounts but in the lives they'd touched. The story of the lost lottery ticket had become more than a tale of luck. It was a testament to the power of purposeful giving, of family bonds strengthened through adversity, and of a legacy that would continue growing long after the money itself might have faded away. In the end, their greatest wealth wasn't the millions in their accounts, it was the thousands of lives changed, the community strengthened, and the family bonds deepened through their journey from struggling to significance.